Welcome to another Friday update on the slow motion train wreck that is the Canadian housing market. Today I've got 4 stories for you and they're all housing related. No distractions this time. Also, I'm currently on vacation and I'm filming this on Tuesday, so if aliens attacked on Wednesday or Thursday, I probably won't be talking about it until mid-October. Sorry. First, a federal judge has allowed a class action suit against the Canadian Real Estate Association, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, and 7 major brokerages, over an allegation that the commission system used by these brokerages is an illegal pricing arrangement and that the real estate associations aided and abetted this scheme. Basically, the idea in the lawsuit is that because listing a house on the Toronto MLS service requires a fixed percentage commission to be paid to the seller's brokerage and the buyer's brokerage, the person selling the house who pays that commission has no ability to negotiate the price of that service, particularly the buyer's commission, and therefore it constitutes either price fixing or some kind of anti-competitive practice and contributes to driving up house prices. It's an interesting argument, and it'll probably be an uphill battle for them to argue that in court, but the judge has decided that has enough merit to at least go to trial instead of being dismissed outright. Next, the yield on 5-year Canada bonds has risen again by about 30 basis points in just 2 weeks. This is an indication that investors are expecting interest rates to be higher for longer, more so than they were just a couple of weeks ago. This doesn't affect variable rate mortgages directly, but it does impact the rates offered on fixed mortgages, which are typically priced based on a spread from bond yields. Fixed rates being offered by lenders have gone up overnight as bond yields have risen, so if you have a fixed rate mortgage, it's a good time to review your finances and start planning for renewal. We can't say for sure what rates will be in a year or two, but if it's possible for you, it's a good idea to prepare for a higher rate at renewal and give yourself some options of what to do depending on what rate you get offered. A lot of people like to accuse me of fear-mongering, but preparation is the antidote to panic. Sit down, run some numbers, make a plan, and chances are you'll be totally fine. But if you bury your head in the sand and get surprised at renewal time, that's what can get you into trouble. Next, Zola recently published their homebuyer sentiment survey, which had a few interesting results. Apparently, the number one reason for people to buy a house was FOMO, with 43% of buyers saying they wanted to buy a house before prices went up even higher. Along with that, people said family and friends said it was a good time to buy, a real estate professional said it was a good time to buy, or they thought that it was a good investment. Another thing I love about this article is that they have a story from a couple that received catastrophically bad advice from their mortgage broker, followed by a comment from a different mortgage broker saying how important it is to get professional advice from the mortgage broker industry. They then go on to explain that it's not their fault they were pushing people to get variable rate mortgages, it's the Bank of Canada's fault. How convenient. Finally, the government has announced they're expanding the Canada mortgage bond issuance from $40 billion a year to $60 billion, with the new issuance being earmarked for rental construction. They claim this will add as many as 30,000 new rental units per year to our housing stock, which would be a good thing if it's true, but to be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out what they're doing with this plan. Canada mortgage bonds don't fund construction directly, and the government's announcement talks about the CMHC's multi-unit mortgage loan insurance program, which already exists, and as far as I know isn't bottlenecked by the size of the Canada mortgage bond program. Canada mortgage bonds are used to raise capital for the Canada Housing Trust to purchase mortgage-backed securities that hold insured mortgages, but those can also be bought on the open market. Having the Housing Trust buy more of them seems like a way to provide an indirect subsidy by artificially increasing the demand for those securities. It's also not clear if they're going to maintain the existing asset mix in the first $40 billion of Canada mortgage bond issuance, or if they'll let all of that go to standard residential purchase mortgages with only the last $20 billion for new rental construction. Overall, this seems like a strange move to me, especially considering that they've been talking about absorbing the Canada mortgage bond program into general federal borrowing. But they're now talking about expanding the program by 50% at the same time. Again, it's hard to figure out their exact motives with so many large changes happening at the same time, but it's something to keep an eye on. As always, thanks for watching and have a good weekend. And to reiterate, I am recording this in the past. I don't know what happened on Wednesday or Thursday, so that's why I'm not talking about it. I'll be back after Thanksgiving, so just try to relax. Have some pie or something.